Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Biden's hot mic moment and what it means. We'll go over some questions that came in about it. We'll talk a little bit more about the doc pier thing and just kind of run through some developments. Okay, so if you don't know what happened after the State of the Union, Biden was having a conversation and he was talking to a senator. And in this, he says, I told him, BB, and don't repeat this, but you and I are going to have a come to Jesus meeting. At this point, an aide runs up and whispers in his ear, and it's like, hey, you're on a hot mic. Biden says, I'm on a hot mic here. Good. That's good. And if you don't know, BB is a nickname for Netanyahu. And then later on, Biden was asked if he thought Netanyahu had a greater responsibility to deal with the humanitarian side of things, something along those lines. And Biden said, yes, he does. Okay, so the questions that came in. Does this mean that Biden's team is going to start doing something now? Biden's team has been doing something. It's just that the successes haven't really been reported on that much, and the stuff that has been reported on hasn't been that successful. But this does indicate that there's going to be a ratcheting up. In fact, I would not be totally surprised if this was part of that. Being caught on a hot mic was part of that. It's happened before. So there seems to be a greater willingness from the Biden administration to put a little bit more pressure. Okay. Next question. Did blocking him do that? Did blocking him change his perception of things? And if you don't know, a whole bunch of people made it really hard for him to get from the White House to the Capitol for the State of the Union. So there were demonstrators who did that. Did that do it? No. Did it help? Sure. This is one of those things. It's a diversity of tactics thing. It's not going to be just one thing. It's not going to be one group of people that sways this. It's going to be a whole bunch of people doing different things. So it didn't do that, but it didn't hurt. And it probably helped, you know. Does this mean the U.S. is going to cut aid to Israel? Now, by this, they're talking about military aid. Until the U.S. is ready to redesign its entire presence in the Middle East, that's not a realistic thing. That's not really going to happen. It's not something that's really on the table, and the Israelis know that. So that's not really leverage, not in that way. But it doesn't mean that Biden couldn't talk about priorities to Bibi. You know, he could talk to Netanyahu and say something like, you know, we've got a lot of stuff going on right now. We got to get supplies to Ukraine, to Taiwan. We got stuff popping off down in Haiti. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff, and the political winds, they're just not blowing in your favor, bud. So don't worry, we'll get you your stuff. But it might take a bit. That he could do, and he might do that. And then other methods of like exerting pressure and having that thing and having that moment, that meeting, would be something like, you know, we're going to get this dock built, and just to show how quickly everything's moving, we're going to have military press there on the dock, just streaming it 24 hours a day. Subtext being, you better keep this stuff moving. There are things like that that can be done, but remember, it's a diplomatic framework. So they're not going to come out and say any of this in direct fashion. It's going to be framed around, oh, we have this other stuff going on, or we want to do this so everybody sees this great thing that we're doing together. But really, it amounts to a police body cam. All of these things are possible. What they're going to do, we don't know. The alternative to this is that it was intentional just to alleviate pressure. I don't think it's that, but it's something that has to be considered. So I would take it personally. I'm taking it as an indication that Biden understands what occurs if it does tip from hunger to famine, and how the world is going to respond. And he wants to avoid that. The bare minimum, I believe that that's the case. I'm sure that there are more generous assessments, but at the bare minimum, I think that that's true. So there is a higher likelihood that they work to alleviate the situation. Okay, so on to questions that came in about the docks. If you don't know, the U.S. has announced that they are going to build a temporary dock so large ships can bring supplies and it can roll into Gaza, roll into the affected areas, alleviate the hunger, the lack of medicine, all of that stuff. Okay, there's questions about weeks and what that means. There are two plans. There are two separate plans. One had to do with using civilians to build the dock. The other is military. The other plan is military. You had people in the comments saying, the Seabees could do this in a day. The Seabees couldn't do that in a day. It would be much faster, though. But since I said they couldn't do it in a day, they would certainly do it in a day just to prove somebody wrong, because that's how they roll. If they use the military route, it would move faster. That really could be 2 weeks. That really could be 2 weeks. The civilian route will take longer. What does the rumor mill say? There are rumors that suggest units that would have to be involved in building this have been told to get their stuff together. Okay? I mean, that's what it is. But we don't know that for certain at time of filming. Why are there two different plans? The idea of boots on the ground. Civilians aren't boots. Now, if they go the military route, I'm sure there will be something. They will frame it as a joke and be like, these aren't boots on the ground, they're boots on the water, or something like that. Using the military would move much faster. But up until the last, 18 hours, there were no indications they planned to go that way. In fact, everything leaned the other way. But there may be a change. Could that change, another question, could that change have to do with him being blocked in? Again, maybe. It's never going to be one thing. It's going to be a whole bunch of different things pushing in one direction. And then the last question that came in about the docks was, and this came in a few times, I said it could be a solution. What does that mean? A dock like this, a pier like this, could move more mills per day than the population of Gaza. I mean a solution. A pier like this is something that can offload so much stuff so quickly that it's not even funny. The concern that some people have is that the Israelis will want to inspect it and that will slow it down. Maybe, but the capacity of one of these piers, even if they're checking every box, they should still be able to offload enough mills for the entire population of Gaza per day. I mean, it would be a solution to that particular issue, to the issue of food, water, medicine, base stuff. It is not a solution to the overall situation there, just the humanitarian aspect. So those are the questions. The hot mic moment, yeah, it indicates something. My personal belief is that it does indicate that the Biden administration is going to step up pressure. Is it going to amount to the solutions that people have latched onto? Probably not. But it doesn't have to be those solutions, right? I mean, the goal, at least right now, the most immediate goal is food, water, medicine. There are a whole bunch of different ways that pressure could be applied in that, quote, come to Jesus meeting to make that happen. But we're going to have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see the effects of that meeting, should it occur. The doc, if they go the military route, it will be much faster. It will be much faster. So we're going to have to wait and see what they do. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.